Hey, what's up, Crank Cycles crew, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be going over different categories of bikes and what is going to be the best bike for you and your needs. There's a lot of different categories out right now: down country, cross country, enduro, trail, all mountain, and it can get confusing. So I'm here to help you out in getting you on the right bike that's going to be good for you. Again, don't be too overwhelmed. There is a lot of stuff out there, but with the right guidance, you're going to be on the trails, you're going to have a great bike and a good time. Let's get going. Now, the two categories I'm going to be going over today are trail and enduro. Trail is a less travel than enduro. Enduro has more travel. For example, this is the Pivot Trail 429. This has 140 in the front and 120 in the rear. This is their enduro trail build. And this is the Pivot Switchblade, a little bit more enduro. This has 160 millimeters of travel in the front and 142 in the rear. So this is like your heavy hitting bike. And this is more of your like leisure, still can get the job done, still can take some hits, but it's gonna be lighter, a little bit more efficient for you if you're not doing a lot of jumps, gnarly downhills. You don't want to get the wrong bike. You don't want to just impress your friends by having a cool bike that has the most travel and you're using about like 10% of what that bike can do. I call that the big dick theory. I know people that have these super enduro bikes, 170 millimeters of travel, and they're slugging their bikes up the hills. They're having trouble on the downhills. They would be way more efficient on something like the Trail 429. Nimble, quick, and lighter. So it's all about having the right tool for the job. You just don't want to show up with a cool bike. You want to show up with a cool bike that's going to fit your needs and make you the best rider possible. So let's start going over that. So if you're a rider that's not too focused on pinning it on the downs, you want an efficient bike, you want longer rides, you're not the most gnarly rider, the trail bikes are going to be more than capable for you. They're going to be a little bit lighter than the enduro bikes, a little less travel. Again, this is 140, 120, and it's going to get the job done better for you. You're going to be able to go faster. You're not going to feel, super tired going uphill. That means that you're going to have the energy to go downhill more efficiently. You want to control the bike at the end of the day. You want to have the bike handling skills to maneuver your bike in certain situations where it's rock gardens, the downhills, jumps, quick turns, because if you can't maneuver your bike, it's going to be a tough time. So, if you're trying to get a one and done bike, yourself, you like to go to the bike park, you like to do a little bit more downhills, then the enduro bikes are going to be a good pick. This is like your trail enduro bike. It's not a full-blown enduro bike, but it is more aggressive than you got your purebred trail bike. This is the Switchblade, the Pivot Switchblade. You have 160 in the front, 142 in the rear. It's still a very poppy bike. So it's going to get the job done for someone who's going to be a little bit more aggressive on the trails. Again, you want the proper bike for you. It is tough out there. Not as much demos going around with these companies right now. And the bikes are expensive. These two models alone, just one, they're both $7,700. Now these are quality bikes. These are Pivots, very high-end company. They're based in Arizona. They're great bikes, and they'll get the job done. They have all the categories, that can fit your needs: cross country, down country, trail, enduro, downhill, everything. So it can get confusing, but the two main ones that I like to go over are trail and enduro, because those are going to be the popular bikes you're going to see out on the trails. So let's go over some other things. So if you are aiming towards the trail bike and you are thinking, I do like to do a little bit more aggressive stuff sometimes, they can handle it too. They can still do the aggressive things. It's just more so if you're just not focusing on that, this is going to be a better time for you. You can push it to its limits, you can go off jumps, you can still do stuff an enduro bike can, but it might not be as efficient as an enduro bike. Where an enduro bike will be able to do all that, but it might not be as efficient as climbing or, the long days out. Not to say the enduro bikes can't climb. Enduro bikes are made to go from point A to point B get you to the top of a trail easy, like, you know, not the easiest, but efficient, where you're not huffing and puffing and dying, but you're not gonna be going the fastest up the hill. It's gonna get you there, you're gonna feel okay, and then you're gonna be able to slay the downs. On this trail bike, you're gonna be bombing up the uphills, you're gonna be going faster, but it's not gonna tackle the downhills as well as an enduro bike. So those are things to consider. They can still do both bikes can still do things similar, it's just they're gonna excel in certain categories better. And that's something to consider. Alongside geometry, I mean, these bikes are trail bikes and enduro bikes are pretty similar in geometry. Some bikes go from 63, 64 degree head angle, 65. You know, these pivot ones, these are like 66 and 66 and a half, so they are similar. I think that, you know, you don't always have to go slackest bike. You know, if you like a fun poppy bike, you know, 65 and a half to 66 and a half is gonna be great for you. You're gonna be able to have a fun poppy bike, jib it around, and that's like super popular nowadays, especially out here in the Northeast or just anywhere. So, you know, certain things to consider. As far as weight goes, these bikes, I'm not a weight weenie. You can get them weighing kind of like in between like 28 and 32 pounds, you know, for, you know, this pivot right here, this the switchblade, you know, I have one myself, it weighs 33 pounds. I'm not a weight weenie, so I don't need all the super light bits. Over here, the Trail 429, you can get this weighing anywhere from 28 pounds to, you know, like 31 pounds. It all depends how you built the bike. But again, you want the right bike for the job, so you just don't want to show up with the coolest looking bike. You want to show up with a bike that's going to be efficient too. So don't just try to impress your friends. Better yourself by picking a bike that is going to be great for you. Now, when you're picking bikes like these, components become a big factor. You know, the more you spend in the bike industry, the better you get. Alongside the drivetrains, the more you spend, the more longevity you get with them. So these bikes are the same builds, two separate bikes, but they have the same parts package. So this is an XT, XTR drivetrain. So, you know, it has the XT cassette, XT chain, XTR derailleur. If you cheap out and you're getting a low end, like maybe Dior, or for SRAM, you're getting like SX or NX, those are not gonna last as long. So one thing to keep in mind is the more you spend on a bike, it is gonna get you further. You know, you're not gonna have to worry like replacing your chain or, you know, your derailleur breaking all the time. So that's what I see a lot of. Like, you can get a lower level bike, but you're going to be in the shop a lot more because those parts just aren't going to last as much. So there is a fine line of, you know, like not spending too much, but spending enough that you're getting a quality parts package on these bikes. And I think that's a huge thing. So sometimes spending that a couple $100s more is going to save you in the long run, trust me. And another thing is, like, a lot of people, you're gonna get these bikes, you're gonna get the itch. You are gonna wanna upgrade them every second. So rather than just skimp out at first, spend a little bit more. It will go a long way for you. Now, me personally, guys, I have so many bikes. I have the new Yeti SB160, the new Yeti SB120, I have a Pivot Switchblade, I have an e-bike, I have a road bike. I'm fortunate enough in the position that I'm in that I'm able to get these bikes, but I also ride every day. I make sure I ride these bikes. They're not just sitting on my wall. I use and abuse them. But if you're only in the market for one bike, and you do like to go to the bike park, you do like to hit the trails, you do like to do enduro races, everything, maybe you know, a bike like this, an enduro bike like the Pivot Switchblade, will be a little bit better for you. This is a light level enduro bike. This isn't your full-blown enduro bike. A full-blown enduro bike would be like the Firebird from Pivot or the Yeti SB160, you know, 170 millimeters in the front and 160 in the rear, or 165 in the rear. But there's different levels of enduro bikes. This is like more of your like not as much travel enduro bike. So something like the Pivot Switchblade with 160 in the front, 142 in the rear, or 140 in the rear, that's gonna do the job great if you're looking for your one and done bike. It's gonna hit all the categories. It might not excel in all the categories, but the bike is designed to kind of hit all these categories to be able to do everything. It might not be as efficient as the Trail 429 in certain areas, But again, it'll be able to, you know, hit those categories, all of them. And that's something to consider. You know, if you're just, again, like going to the bike park, doing an enduro race, jibbing with your friends, you know, all things to consider. Again, if you're not doing all those things, you know yourself, you're not going to the downhill park. You like those longer days out, adventuring, exploring, going up on the uphills, like, you know, relatively fast, not having to huff and puff. Trail bike's gonna do the job for you. Again, it is more than capable of doing some of the downhills and jumps that a switchblade or an enduro bike can do, but again, it's not going to do it as efficiently. And you want to be able to maneuver the bikes the best way possible. So just know yourself when looking for the bike. Ask the inner question. You know, don't let the devil on your shoulder say, no, you're going to do like Red Bull Rampage stuff. Know yourself. And that's a huge thing when buying a bike, because a bike shop or like your friends, they're gonna steer you in a different direction sometimes. And a lot of times people want to get sales too. So you can walk into a shop and say, hey, I'm looking for a trail bike, and then you're walking out with an enduro bike. You somehow got conned into getting one or amped up to get one, and now you're not using it for what it's used for, and you want to sell it, and you just spent $10,000. That's what I'm trying to steer you away from. I'm trying to like put some reality into what you're thinking or looking for. It's a tough pill to swallow, but you know, just know yourself and, you know, ask the right questions, whether it's your friends, whether it's a bike shop. You know, everyone should be doing right by you, and you're just there to kind of be guided in the right direction. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video and you stuck around this long. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Love for you to be part of the crew. And yeah, look forward to putting out more videos for you guys. Have a good one.